Okay.
All right, so for courage, they are both very outgoing. They're very confident in new locations. They seem bold. Nothing fazed them. Nothing scared them. So as long as you just keep getting them out, you're going to have a very nice, Lexi, when she was 9 weeks old, did a drive to Texas. I went to a show in Texas at 9 weeks old and then drove all the way back. Think of all the truck stops and the noises and all that. The more you can do with them, I know the vets say don't take them out. For biddability, they both were immediately looking at my face and wanting to engage me when I was holding them, which is awesome because not all puppies do that. Some squirm and wriggle, and they were very comfortable being with me. And then even after I, bothered them, I'm not going to say hurt them because I didn't hurt them, but I bothered them by holding them or restraining them. They both were willing to forgive me. It took a little time, but I'm a complete stranger, right? So when it's their own person, they'll be fine. That looks really nice. They also were willing to follow me and do stuff. Like when I threw the toy, they were engaged. They got a little distracted to mom or to you guys, but that just shows they're very social, which is a good thing in a windhound, right? All right, what other things did they talk about?
How would you describe their problem-solving methods?
Oh, wow. I have to say, they both improved on their V, right? So they learned, she was a little bit more confident in going, I am just going to work until I find mom. Whereas he said, I'm trying this. Ooh, that didn't work. He gave up faster. Okay, he gave up a little faster. So you probably want to work on expanding his enrichment activities on problem solving, like maybe some of the games and some of the training things that they do. Like I have a little candy machine that has a dog lever, right? And I taught Lexi to do the dog lever, that sort of thing, and do it by shaping. So you might work with some shaping for him to figure out things. I would shape her too. I shape all my puppies a little bit. I'm a traditional trainer. I don't do a lot of shaping, but with babies I always shape because it gives you another skill that you can use later in life. You can pull out the clicker and you can put them in that room and say, okay, now we're going to try and learn something new. And they go, oh, I know this. We're trying to learn something new. Let me try this. Let me try that. So I would recommend that, especially for him, because he was a little lower than her, but good for all puppies. What else?
Patience. How would you describe their
his patience was a little higher than hers, in that when I turned him over, he was a little more settled for a second before he started flailing. She started flailing right away, but neither of them are lacking in patience. They're both fine, I'd say middle of the road. It's just you can compare the two, right?
How would you describe the consistency and appropriateness of their behavior under stress?
Awesome. This whole thing has been stressful. They're in a new environment. They're with new smells, and they've just been good. And they did very well on their puppy test. My Turv, when they did the puppy test on his litter, they brought one of the girls out and put her in a room she'd never been in before, and she just froze, and they couldn't get her to move. So we're not seeing any of that. They're very comfortable, nice. They handled the stress of traveling here and doing this quite well. The thing is, don't let up on it. Get them out. Do stuff with them. Day one. Teach them. You guys know about leave a cookie to get a cookie? That's the very first thing I teach my babies. I put a cookie in this hand, and I show them there's a cookie there, and I wiggle this hand really close to them, and if they investigate this, they get fed out of the empty hand. And I do that a lot to the point where I've got a cookie, and they're like, where's the hand? And go running over. That you leave the cookie. The cookie's important, and you're going to get it, but the way you get it is by leaving. They start learning right away about reward versus just lure. And it's the very first thing I teach my babies.
Would you say they had high eye contact?
Yes, they did. Yes, yes.
It was a bit leading, but
Yeah, but they did. Both of them. They got a lot of eye contact. Even on the restraint, they both gave me eye contact, which you don't always get.
The object focus, or like their need to concentrate or direct energy towards objects versus other things.
I would say his is a little higher than hers. We saw that in the towel and the retrieving. But she showed it. So it just needs a little more work on hers. You probably have to train it a little bit more with her. Like I said, more toy play. But they both showed a lot of interest in stuff. But even like the umbrella and the noise, she was not as interested in the thing. She's more into people. Okay. He was more investigative of new stuff. Yeah.
And I know we kind of went over this, but I'm just realizing new air, whatever. But the intensity for connection with people.
Oh yeah, both high. She's super high.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're both high.